Welcome back to the 2K Pure Hoops podcast for another deep dive. It's hard to believe we're already back for episode number
Oh,
2.
right. It feels like just yesterday we were kicking things off. But the NBA waits for no one, right?
Definitely not, especially with all the drama and excitement unfolding this season. So before we jump into all the craziness, let's give our listeners a quick snapshot of where things stand in the league.
Sounds good. A little State of the Union for the NBA.
Exactly. Let's start with the top of the East. The Cavs are looking like a real force to be reckoned with, sitting pretty at 26-4. Haven't seen them this dominant since, well, LeBron's first stint in Cleveland.
It's wild how quickly they turn things around. And, speaking of surprises, the Knicks aren't too far behind them at 20-10.
Wow, the Knicks. Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah.
But hey, got to give credit where credit's due. They're exceeding expectations so far. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the Kings. They're struggling down at the bottom of their division with a 13-18 record.
Yeah, and to add fuel to the fire, they just fired Coach Mike Brown after dropping 5 straight games.
It feels like they're always hitting the reset button over there. But here's the thing. De'Aaron Fox is balling out right now. We're talking 26 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. All-star caliber numbers.
It makes you wonder if the coaching change was really the solution. Maybe there's something else going on there.
Right. It's got to be frustrating for Fox to be putting up those kind of numbers and still not seeing wins. Speaking of frustration, D'Angelo Russell is on the move.
Oh, yeah. The Lakers decided to ship him off to the Nets in exchange for Dorian Finney-Smith.
I think the Lakers are hoping Finney-Smith can bring some much-needed defensive stability, especially when they go up against guys like Jason Tatum.
For sure. They're going to need all the help they can get on defense if they want to make a serious playoff push this year. All right, now let's shift gears and talk about the Golden State Warriors. Steph Curry's been making headlines lately with his comments about retirement.
Yeah, it's a reminder that Father Time is undefeated. Even the greats can't play forever. And it sounds like Steph is starting to feel the sense of urgency.
Especially considering the Warriors are having a bit of a bumpy ride this season. They're sitting at 18-14 and just haven't looked like the dominant force we're used to seeing.
Right, which makes you wonder if they're going to make any big moves to maximize Curry's remaining time. I mean, they were after guys like Lauri Markkanen and Paul George in the offseason.
And the rumors haven't stopped. Shams is reporting that they're still actively looking to add another piece to the puzzle.
Interesting. Maybe that's why they decided to bench Draymond Green and give Jonathan Kuminga more minutes. Could be a strategic move to showcase his potential and maybe even increase his trade value.
Some analysts are actually speculating that they're eyeing a major trade, possibly involving Kuminga. There's been talk about guys like Nikola Vucevic and Kyle Kuzma, but the real buzz is surrounding Jimmy Butler.
Hold up. Jimmy Butler to the Warriors.
Yeah.
Now that would be a blockbuster move.
It's definitely sending shockwaves through the league. Apparently, the Heat are open to hearing offers for Butler, which is a complete 180 from their stance just last summer.
You have to wonder what prompted the change of heart. Is Butler unhappy in Miami? Or are the Heat just looking to shake things up?
Well, word on the street is that Butler wants to join a contender, and his agent has apparently been reaching out to teams like the Rockets, the Mavericks, and you guessed it, the Warriors.
Butler and Curry on the same team? That would be an offensive explosion. But wait, doesn't the new CBA make these mega trades nearly impossible?
Yeah, that second apron is no joke. It's definitely made things a lot more complicated when it comes to maneuvering around the salary cap. I think that rules out the Mavericks right off the bat. They don't really have the cap space or the assets to entice the Heat.
So if we're talking realistic destinations, it seems like the Rockets and the Warriors are the frontrunners.
Makes sense. The Rockets could offer a package built around Jabari Smith Jr., Cam Whitmore, and maybe a future first-round pick.
That's a steep price to pay. I wonder if the Rockets are willing to give up that much young talent.
I mean, it's a gamble for sure, but high risk, high reward, right? Now, if we're talking about the Warriors, the most likely scenario would involve Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, a future first-rounder, and probably some salary filler.
That's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah.
But it would definitely align with Butler's desire to play with a superstar like Curry, and the Warriors would get that proving closer they've been missing.
Right. It seems like a win-win for both sides. But then you have to wonder, what happens to the Heat if they trade away Butler? Do they blow it up and rebuild around Bam Adebayo and Tyler Herro?
Or do they try to stay competitive and retool on the fly? It's a tough spot for them. They're not quite contenders, but they're not bad enough to tank either. Pat Riley has a tough decision to make. All this talk about trades and superstars, it reminds me that LeBron James just celebrated another birthday.
The king is getting up there in age. Makes you wonder how many more years he'll be gracing the court.
And it brings to mind Steph's comments about retirement, too. This era of basketball, With all these incredible players at the top of their game, it's not going to last forever.
So true. We got to appreciate these moments while they last. Who knows how many more times we'll get to see LeBron and Curry battle it out in a meaningful game.
Definitely something to think about.
Hmm.
Okay, let's shift gears for a second and talk about Nikola Jokic's MVP campaign.
Oh man, he is just on another level right now, putting up video game numbers, almost 31 points, 13 rebounds, and 10 assists per game.
And he makes it look so effortless. It's just not fair. He's carrying the Nuggets on his back. They have the best record in the West thanks to him.
It's wild to think where he already ranks among the all-time greats. And the scariest part, he's still got so much more room to grow.
I'm excited to see what the future holds for Jokic. Okay, let's quickly touch on a couple more things before we wrap up this first part of the deep dive.
Sounds good. What else is on your mind?
Well, it's unfortunate about Luka Doncic's recent injury. That calf strain is going to keep him sidelined until at least February. It's a huge blow for the Mavericks.
They were already having a tough time finding consistency, and now they're without their franchise player. I feel for Mavericks fans, that's got to be rough.
Hopefully he makes a full recovery and gets back on the court soon. But hey, even with Doncic out, the NBA never disappoints. There are still so many exciting storylines and intense matchups on the horizon. I can't wait to see how the rest of the season unfolds.
Me neither. The NBA always keeps us on the edge of our seats.
All right, let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and dive into some of the most intriguing trade rumors circulating around the league. It's going to be good.
Can't wait to unpack all that juicy gossip. I've got the inside scoop, so stay tuned. You know, all this trade talk has me thinking about the New Orleans Pelicans. Remember those rumors about them potentially shopping Brandon Ingram?
Oh yeah, those have been swirling around for a while now. But you know what's interesting? Ingram was actually playing some of his best basketball before he got sidelined with that injury, averaging over 20 points a game, shooting efficiently, and showing some real leadership qualities.
I agree. It's definitely a head-scratcher. Why trade a guy who could be a cornerstone of your franchise? Unless...
Well, you got me intrigued now.
Well, there's been a lot of buzz surrounding the upcoming draft, and some scouts believe that Cooper Flagg might not be the surefire #1 pick everyone thought he was.
So you're thinking maybe the Pelicans are trying to position themselves to draft Victor Wembanyama, the guy who's been lighting up the league with those crazy stats for the Spurs.
Exactly. We're talking historic numbers here. 40 points, 15 rebounds, 4 blocks, and 5 threes in a single game.
Wait, 5 threes? For a guy his size, that's just not fair. He didn't just break the Spurs' Christmas scoring record, he shattered it. And I think he's the first player in NBA history to put up those kinds of numbers in a single game.
Yeah, it's not just a one-time thing either. Over his last 5 games, Wembanyama is averaging 32 points, 10 rebounds, almost 7 blocks, and nearly 5 threes.
Those are video game numbers. He's already rewriting the record books, and he hasn't even played a full season yet. It's insane.
It is. Makes you wonder if the Pelicans are thinking long-term here. Trading Ingram could free up cap space and assets to potentially move up in the draft and snag Wembanyama. It's a risky move, but the payoff could be huge.
High risk, high reward. That's the NBA draft for you. Speaking of rewriting the record books, it feels like just yesterday we were witnessing Steph Curry break Ray Allen's all-time three-point record.
Time flies when you're watching greatness unfold, right? And speaking of greatness, we can't forget about Jokic passing Magic Johnson for 3rd on the all-time triple-doubles list. It's unbelievable what he's been able to accomplish so early in his career.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And he's not even close to being done. But, you know, while we're talking about amazing teams and players, we got to give some love to the Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh, yeah. They've been quietly putting together a fantastic season.
They're flying under the radar a bit, but they're a legitimate contender in the West.
Absolutely. Top 5 in both offense and defense, and they're the fastest team in the league. That's a recipe for success.
And their rookie, Jalen Wells, has been a defensive monster. Did you see him lock down Steph Curry in their last matchup?
Didn't let him score a single basket. For a rookie to do that to a player like Curry is just incredible.
It speaks volumes about his potential and the Grizzlies' ability to develop young talent. They always seem to find these hidden gems and turn them into stars.
It's all about building a winning culture, and they've shown they're not afraid to make tough decisions to make that happen.
And of course, let's not forget about Ja Morant. He's back and healthy, and he's electrifying to watch. They're definitely a team to watch out for in the West.
No doubt about it. They could be a real sleeper pick come playoff time.
You know, all this talk about building a team and managing a roster makes me think about the impact of the new CBA. That second apron has really changed the game, hasn't it?
Big time. It's made it so much harder for teams to pull off those blockbuster trades.
Yeah, front offices are having to get creative with their roster management. They can't just throw money at every problem anymore.
Exactly. It's forced them to think long-term and consider the financial implications of their decisions much more carefully.
I think it's been a good thing overall. We're seeing smaller market teams having more of a chance to compete with the big spenders.
I agree. It's definitely leveled the playing field. It'll be interesting to see how teams continue to adapt to these new rules.
Absolutely. The NBA is constantly evolving. Okay, before we move on to the next topic, we have to address the elephant in the room. These Tyler Herro trade rumors.
Oh, yeah. Things are getting spicy in Miami. It's surprising to hear that the Heat are apparently listening to offers for Herro, especially after he just signed that big extension and was an all-star last season.
I know, right? He was a key part of their finals run a couple of years ago. So what gives? Is Pat Riley just trying to shake things up, or is there something more to it?
Well, from what I've heard, Herro's inconsistent play early this season, combined with Jimmy Butler's desire for a more reliable second option, might be the driving force behind these rumors.
So if the Heat do decide to trade Herro, who would they target? And what kind of package would they be looking for?
Good questions. I'm sure Pat Riley and the Heat front office are already working the phones trying to find the best possible deal. They're known for being shrewd negotiators, so I'm sure they'll be looking for a player who can make an immediate impact and fits their win-now mentality.
This is definitely a situation worth keeping an eye on. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
The NBA never disappoints when it comes to drama. You never know what's going to happen next.
That's the truth. All right, let's take a closer look at Jokic's MVP campaign and why he's the clear frontrunner right now.
Let's do it. The Joker is putting on a clinic this season, and it's a joy to watch.
It really is amazing to see him play. It's like he's operating on a different level than everyone else.
Yeah.
31 points, 13 rebounds, 10 assists. I mean, those are just video game numbers.
And it's not just about the stats. He makes everyone around him better. That's the mark of a true MVP.
Exactly. He elevates his teammates. I mean, the Nuggets are legitimate title contenders, and he's the heart and soul of that team.
He really is. He's like the conductor of an orchestra, except instead of instruments, he's got guys like Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. out there hitting those sweet notes on the court.
Love that analogy. And his passing, don't even get me started. It's like he's got eyes in the back of his head. The way he sees the floor and anticipates plays is unbelievable.
That makes it look so easy, too. He's not the most athletic guy out there, but he's so skilled and so smart. He just dominates the game with his basketball IQ.
Absolutely. Jokic is a true student of the game, and that's inspiring to see. It's a shame Luka Doncic is dealing with that calf injury, though. Tough break for the Mavericks.
Yeah, it is. They were already struggling to find their groove, and now they're missing their best player. It's going to be an uphill battle for them without Luka.
Hopefully he can make a full recovery and get back out there soon. But, even with Doncic sidelined, there's still so much to be excited about in the NBA. Every night brings something new.
That's the beauty of this league. It never disappoints. There's always some kind of drama, some amazing performance, some crazy finish. It's why we love it.
Couldn't have said better myself. Well, folks, that about wraps up our NBA Deep Dive for today. We've covered a lot of ground, from those wild trade rumors to the MVP race to the ever-changing landscape of the league.
We hope you enjoyed the conversation and learned a thing or two along the way.
And don't forget to check out our Pure Hoops 2K video for more NBA insights and highlights. We're always putting out new content, so make sure you subscribe and stay tuned.
And to all our listeners out there, we wish you a very happy and healthy new year.
Thanks for joining us on this wild ride through the NBA. Until next time, keep it locked right here for more deep dives into the world of hoops.